Hey everybody, today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the Curt Trailer Hitch Receiver here on our 2021 Chevrolet Colorado. So this is what our trailer hitch is going to look like. As you can see here, we have a nice sturdy rounded collar on the outside of the receiver tube opening. We also have a nice shiny black powder coated finish that'll help it blend in well with the vehicle. I'd also like to point out that it has sort of a hidden design. The only thing we can really see are the receiver tube, possibly the safety chain tabs. Most of the Crosstube is going to be hidden behind the bumper here. That's not only going to give us the best ground clearance, it's also going to provide a little bit of a tighter fit for a more factory install. So what can our trailer hitch be used for? The majority of people, you're probably going to be using your trailer hitch to tow a trailer. It's perfectly suited and capable for that. However, you may not already be aware, we can also use bike racks and cargo carriers. Because it has the larger 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening, we're going to have plenty of options to choose from. So whether we want to free up some space in our bed or in the cab and attach a cargo carrier, or we want to hit the trails and attach a bike rack, we're going to be perfectly suited for both of those options. So if we are towing a trailer, we need to make sure that we abide by the weight capacities of the trailer hitch or the vehicle if the vehicle is lower. So the trailer hitch is actually tested separately of the vehicle. That's why we need to go by the lower of the two rated components. You should be able to find your vehicle's towing capacity in your owner's manual. But as far as the trailer hitch goes, the gross trailer weight rating, which is going to be the amount we can pull outward on our fully loaded trailer, is going to be at 6,000 pounds. In regards to the tongue weight rating, which is the downward force here on the receiver tube, that's going to be 900 pounds. So keep in mind, we can use this trailer hitch here with a weight distribution system. If you're towing towards the upper end of your towing capacity, I do recommend using one. And our capacities are actually going to increase for the trailer hitch when we're using this type of system to 8,000 pounds and 900 pounds respectively. So on the side of our receiver tube, we're going to have our hitch pin hole, which is an industry standard 5/8 inch diameter. So you can see our pin and clip here easily inserts through this. Keep in mind, the hitch pin and clip doesn't actually come with the hitch here. We have plenty of options to choose from here at eTrailer, as well as locking options. If you're using it for a bike rack or cargo carrier, chances are that's going to come with the hitch pin already. And on the bottom of the receiver tube, we're going to have our safety chain tabs, which will accept the smaller S-type hooks as well as the larger clevis. So now we have a couple of measurements here for you. The first one I like to do is going to be the ground clearance. So for this one, since the safety chains are below, we're going to measure from the ground to the bottom of the safety chains. That's going to be 13.5 inches. So you shouldn't have any issues with bottoming out. The next one we're going to measure for you is the distance from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube. That measurement will be useful when we're selecting our hitch mounted accessories such as a ball mount. That way we can make sure we get the rise and drop to tow our trailer level. This one is going to be about 18.5 inches. And then finally, we have the distance from the center of the hitch pin hole to the outside edge of the bumper. That measurement will be useful when we're selecting our hitch mounted accessories such as a bike rack or cargo carrier. That way we can make sure when they're folded up, they don't contact the vehicle. So this one isn't that far behind the bumper. We're looking at about 1.5 inches. So in regards to installation, I think this one's actually going to be a little bit easier for you guys to do at home by yourselves, mainly because we actually have to support the bumper because we'll be removing a couple bolts used to secure it. I would also advise you guys to get a breaker bar. It's not required, but a few of the bolts we need to remove are pretty tight, so it's definitely going to help you guys out. But aside from that, everything's pretty straightforward. There's no modifications to the vehicle, so let's go ahead and show you guys how to do it now. So the first step of our installation, we're actually going to be lowering our spare tire here. Now the tools you're going to need to do this are going to be located in the cab of your vehicle. If you need further assistance, be sure to reference your owner's manual. But once we have the spare tire out of place, we're going to come underneath here. There's going to be a support bracket that we need to remove. We're going to have 2 bolts on either side here, which we'll remove using a 13mm socket. We're going to set this aside for now. We will be reinstalling it. So the next step, we're actually going to be removing this little cross tube here. Now, you actually may already have a factory hitch installed and you want to be replacing it, or you just have the support tube here, which is used for a hitch ball in the bumper. Either way, we're actually going to go ahead and remove this. And because it's tied into our bumper as well, we need to make sure we support our bumper. We have a couple pull jacks, as well as some ratchet straps holding it to the frame. This is actually going to be probably easier for you guys at home since you're doing this on the ground. You would just simply need a couple jack stands to support the bumper. So if you already have a hitch ball installed here through your bumper attached to your cross tube, you need to remove it now. So now we're going to take a 21mm socket. We're going to remove these 2 bolts on the bottom here. We also have 2 at the top for a total of 4 per side. Now that we have all of our bolts removed, we can go ahead and remove the cross member. It looks like that we have one little wiring connector here on the inside, over here on the driver's side, which we'll have to remove before we can completely remove the cross tube. So here's that little connector that we're hanging up on. So then we'll go ahead and remove the cross tube the rest of the way. Keep in mind it won't be reinstalled. So we need to make sure that we remove these 2 little nut-cert clips here from our cross tube before we discard it. Simply should just pry up and then out. So before we set our new hitch up into position, it's going to be a good idea to go ahead and clean our weld nuts out using a spray lubricant and a wire brush. So now with an extra set of hands, we can go ahead and set our hitch up into position using our factory hardware. Now that we have our hitch loosely in place, we'll go ahead and install the 2 side bolts here. So now let's take our 21mm socket, go ahead and snug down all of our fasteners. Let's take our torque wrench now and torque everything down to the specifications in our instructions. So if you remember our nut certs from earlier that we removed from the factory cross tube, we're going to be installing these into the slotted holes on our hitch here. Now we can go ahead and re-secure our spare tire bracket. Don't forget to raise your spare tire back up into position. But that will do it today for our look and installation of the Curt Trailer Hitch Receiver here on our 2021 Chevrolet Colorado.